Welcome back to another installment of our Cleveland Indians Spring Training Roundtable. Alongside Paul Hoynes and Bud Shaw, I'm Zack Meisel. Guys, let's talk about the bullpen. It was Terry Francona's favorite part of the team in 2014, and he used it a lot. And do you think he's going to have to use it again this year?
I think that's the way he manages. I really do. I mean, he's had success with the Indians the last 2 years. He used it, 573 times last year?
I lost
American League record. The year before was like 532 times. I mean, at times he had 9, 10 relievers out there. So I think that's a key to him managing, to him feel comfortable managing. And I would expect him to go to those guys a lot again.
Well, wait a second. You're predicting a big year for the rotation. Shouldn't that lessen the load on the bullpen?
That's a pretty good. That's a good picture. But he could say, my guys only have to go 5 innings now because I've got like 12 guys out there.
If you give Francona 6 outs for his bullpen, he's going to find 5 or 6 relievers to use.
I just want to see him start riding the little scooter out to the mound and back. That would. You talk about packing the house. That would do it.
All right, 4 relievers made at least 70 appearances in 2014. Any reason to think that those guys might not have the freshest arms this year?
Well, I think, there's some concern there. I think that's why they brought Scott Downs in, and Anthony Swarzak. I think that's why they're still looking for another arm. Cody Allen's made over 153 appearances the last 2 years. Shaw's made 150. So you're talking about your closer in his first full year closing, and your setup guy, your main setup guy. He led the big leagues in appearances with 80 last year. So I think that's, they didn't pitch a lot of innings, but the fact that's a lot of wear and tear. So I think they've got to keep an eye on those guys.
But how would you use Cody Allen if you were manager?
Well, I love that guy, man. When I spoke with him last year, you could just tell that he felt like he was ready for the role, and I think he's a perfect guy for the 9th inning. Now I know that they're talking about possibly using him a little early in some games, correct?
Right.
What's the philosophy behind that, and are you a proponent of it?
Well, I think Francona thinks you need to save some games in the 8th inning as opposed to the 9th.
Because of the lineup that you might be
right.
part of the lineup
the people you're facing, the situation you're in. He loved, 2 years ago, he loved to bring Allen into bases loaded situations with 1 out or 2 outs. I mean, but maybe, with less than 2 outs, and Allen would get out of it mostly. The guy is pretty much fearless, and he has that closer mentality. He never hides. He has the personality doesn't change, and that's what you want to see.
It does 2 things. One, you get your best pitcher in when the game is at its most critical juncture, which is good. And you have enough guys that you trust, Shaw, Atchison, Hagedorn, Zepchinski, where those guys can get the last 3 outs if they need to.
So we're not talking about 2-inning saves here.
Usually not.
Like a 4-out save. That's what he usually uses them for. It's not Mariano Rivera and Joe Torre out there.
But it also, this is a young guy who isn't at arbitration yet. And when he gets to that arbitration hearing, it's going to be how many saves do you have, how many appearances, sure. But they look for those concrete numbers. And I think if this guy's pitching in the 8th inning, he might not rack up as many saves. That'll save the Indians dollars down the line.
Now, wait a second. Do you think they make financial decisions like that?
No, not them. So do you see, is there enough depth there Scott Atchison is 39 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, is there
I think there's some depth there. They've got Adams. They've got some young guys at AAA. You've got like 3 lefties. Zepchinski and Crockett and who's the other lefty?
Hagedorn.
And Hagedorn. I mean, I really like Crockett. I mean, he was underutilized last year. Francona said he's going to pitch him more this year. I think he's going to find a pivotal role there. You got a guy like C.C. Lee, a young guy that really hasn't maxed out yet or really hasn't made an impression yet. So they've got some depth there.
C.C. Lee made an impression on me when he was intentionally walking the guy on Detroit, threw it to the backstop, let a run score. That didn't leave an impression?
Yeah. That's great. I forgot about that.
Was that also your play of the year? Was that runner-up play of the year?
No, I saw that in some nightmares when I woke up in a cold sweat.
I asked him about that a couple days later. He goes, I can't do that anymore.
All right, that'll do it for the bullpen. Plenty more to come on cleveland.com. It's our Cleveland Indians Spring Training Roundtable.